How is it going, guys? It's Nutshell here, and today's video is going to be showcasing how you can easily take out PMCs on PVE Tarkov with very little effort, and to be able to complete some of the sniper related tasks that are required for Kappa. And so with that being said, all of these sorts of sniper tasks do rely on being able to play on any map, or at least reserve, and we're going to get into the loadout in a second. But before we do, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel and you want to see more Escape from Tarkov, then feel free to subscribe down below and it will let you know exactly when we upload, what sort of stuff, etc. But with that out of the way, let's jump in. So of course there are a variety of different tasks, whether that be Shooter Born in Heaven for sniper rifles and particular bolt action rifles, alongside Psycho Sniper, which I did on this map as well, and we're going to get into how you can actually do it in a second as well. But in terms of the loadout and how you can kind of take out PMCs really easily and in very little amount of time as well. It took me about an hour to complete quite a few of the Tarkov shooters, as well as completing the Psycho Sniper as well. So it's a great way of completing these tasks if you haven't already done them and you're not specifically wanting to drag it out and stuff like that, because you just want to get them done. So in terms of loadout wise, well, of course you need a bolt action rifle. Now there's quite a few bolt action rifles in the game. You have the Mosin, you have T5000M, you have the M700, you've got the SV98, you've got all sorts of bolt action rifles within the game. But the key ones that I usually use, or have been using for a lot of these, is included with the DVL and the T5000M. Now these are primarily because I picked them up from the marked rooms, as they currently spawn within those marked rooms quite commonly, and they're just an easy way of getting them. And when you consider that these are pretty powerful rifles anyway, it's kind of personal preference as to which one you're going to use. They all use the same sort of rounds anyway, which is 7.62 by 51. And the great thing about this sort of round is that the damage output of all of the rounds are very, very high. So if we just drop off my main gun in here and we do a bit of moving around, we can actually edit this. And so with the T5000M, for example, and we unload it, you can load all sorts of rounds. So you've primarily got BCP FMJ, M80, M61, M62 Tracer, Ultra Nozzler, TCW SP, and M993. Now the commonly used rounds are the M62 Tracer, as most people are able to just buy this. Some of the higher rounds like M80 is a higher tier trader task requirement in order for you to actually purchase that from I believe Prappel it might be, or Jaeger. Either way, the M62 rounds are very, very good. They have level 4 pen with 79 damage, which is also great for farming bosses. So you want to have good ammunition, because it just basically guarantees you a pen through the helmets that you're going to be coming up against. Level 4 and above is fine. So anything that gives you that with a 7.62 by 51 on a lot of these sniper rifles is kind of worth using, and whenever you can pick it up for cheap. A lot of these you can actually not buy off of the flea, so you are going to have to unlock them. But if you don't have any of these and you're wanting to get some ammunition, you can just do a quick link search on this, and then you can go down to ammo and then rounds, and you'll see all of the rounds listed that you can actually get. If we then open up excluded or barter ones, you can see BCP FMJ, which is okay. It is usable, and it's the one that I used before I had access to M62 Tracer and M80. And equally, you've got some worse rounds as well, debatably. But the TCWSP, also a potential one to use, since it does give you a chance of bleeding the opponent, and it also does more damage, so 87 damage with that one. So it's really down to whichever round you feel comfortable or have unlocked. The highest the better, to be honest, and that's the one that I would use. I would avoid Ultra Nozzler, even though it does more damage. The pen is just so low that you want to guarantee that you're going to take someone out in the head area if they do have a helmet on. So with that out of the way, in terms of what we use, there's one key attachment that we do use on all of my sniper rifles, and that comes in the form of the FLIR. And the FLIR or thermal scope, or any of the thermal scopes, Reap IR, etc. You can use any of these, but primarily I just use the flare. It's just an easy one, and it has a pretty decent zoom as well at 9 times, which helps out for targeting and finding out where opponents actually are so that you can take them out. So flare is definitely a must for this, and it really works out quite well, especially considering the time of day that we're going to be running these raids on, which basically makes it no risk, and also one of just the best ways of making both money as well as actually completing your task super quickly. So the flare is what we use, and then yeah, that is basically it. You can kit out your sniper rifle however you want to kit it out. Obviously going for the more meta builds is what you want to do if you're trying to be the most optimal, but of course do it however you want. This is PvE mode, you don't have to do anything, and you don't even have to do this method. I'm just stating that this is what worked for me, worked really well, and got me through some of the annoying tasks to be able to do, especially ones that require you to not die in between taking people out with bolt action rifles, including PMCs, which is probably a more difficult one for people who are a bit more new to Tarkov, or people that haven't really got that far in the Kappa quest line before. This is kind of what this video is about. So with that being said, let's jump into the raid. You definitely want a pair of nods as well as a main gun as well. Before we jump in, making sure that you've just got a normal gun and then running a sniper rifle on top of that. That is kind of what is going to work quite well for you, because obviously you are going to come into close contact if you want to extract, and then you can use this and kind of go through the buildings if you're going down into D2 on reserve, as well as having yourself a red rebel with a paracord in your back. Is going to work out quite well as well, because then you can just extract from where you can snipe most people if you're not interested in the loot and you're purely only interested in just doing the task as quickly as possible, and that's kind of what I'll do. Now, the key to this method is to go into reserve on a time period between 10 o'clock at night and also 5 in the morning. If you go in after 5 in the morning, the AI will then get their extended view range and targeting range, or aggro range, whatever you want to call it, essentially where they'll spot you and start shooting at you. If you go in before 10 o'clock at night, so say 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, they will also have that increased aggro range. But if you go in after, they'll have a much smaller range at which they'll spot you, because technically Tarkov trying to be more realistic, I guess, that nighttime AI shouldn't just be able to beam you across the map, considering that you have a significant disadvantage, or so they think. But with this change, obviously, there is essentially one place that I typically go, which is up to the dome. Now, when you get into the raid itself in the nighttime, there are typically about 4 spawns that I usually find myself in. And the first one is on the dome, so you'll spawn actually down in the dome, or just upside of the dome, literally out by the kind of dome, or the first floor of the dome. Which is great. It's really easy, or ground floor of the dome even, and so you can just start the whole method from there. But if you haven't, then you're going to spawn either across the way, literally directly opposite on the map, so near the black pawn, white pawn and black bishop, I believe. So you spawn all over there, and essentially you can run past the buildings, taking the edge of the map border. Nothing really aggroes you when you do that and you run that way, and so you can just make it all your way up to the dome, not a problem. Equally, you can spawn over to the right hand side, which is, or further over from where you spawn in black, or going towards black, but you can actually spawn all the way over in the corner, so nearby where you've got the underground part where you have to take out the scavs, so the little bunkers that aren't going down to D2, but the other bunkers, that is where you can also spawn, and then you just run and you can jump over some wires, or barbed wire, and there's 2 sets of that, and then on a pipe, and then you can run all the way down, and you can go all the way around the map border to get on top. Usually I will actually just do a quick scan of the area when I do spawn there, because sometimes Glukar can spawn in the center of the map. There are, I believe, 4 spawns for Glukar, maybe 3. But there is the underground where the scavs actually spawn, like we said earlier. And you've also got the barracks area, so where those 3 buildings are in a semicircle. And you've also got the kind of military area over in the far, or just in front of where the dome is to the left. If you're looking out from the dome, that's where it will spawn. So they should be on screen right here, marked in red. So that's kind of where Glukar can spawn. So if you spawn anywhere near there, you want to make sure that you are aware that Glukar could potentially spawn there and can aggro you, as they do have extended aggro range versus a normal PMC or a normal scav or whatever. So with that out the way, obviously once you've made it up to the dome, you can start off by just scanning the area in front of you. When you come in after the recent patches to the dome, nothing ever spawns up there, nothing ever goes up to the dome, so you don't really have any issues from anyone just kind of charging up to you or anything like that, at least not from what I've experienced so far out of the multiple raids that I have done on reserve. Nothing ever comes up the dome, and that is after probably about 30-40 raids where I've done a similar sort of thing on this map, so there's nothing to worry about there. And so it's basically risk free once you reach the dome. There's a couple of keys you could get. You could get the RB KPRL if you're interested, and you can get a little bit of loot that you can take out and basically cover the cost of the ammunition from the safes that are in that, alongside the adjacent building, which doesn't require a key and has a safe and a PC in it as well. And so that basically funds your ammunition and your repair costs, etc. For that raid, and of course buying anything to regen your health or anything that you might have done during the raid. So it covers that and makes you a little bit of money, but nothing major. But then what you do is go up to the dome. You can use the grenade launcher if you're interested. It is literally directly down on from the ground floor of the dome, and you can use that and basically get rid of any of the Glukar or anything that may spawn down by the helicopter. It is possible for them to spawn down by the helicopter. So yeah, it could potentially get you a couple of kills, but really not a tactic I usually use anyway. But once you've kind of gone up to the dome, so you want to go up to the top floor, and rather than go inside the dome itself, I usually go on the outer perimeter on the bit just below the actual golf ball. So once you're up there, essentially it's just free picking. So you want to look down to where the military area is, with the, I don't even know, like the garages, down on the left hand side, and that's one of the places where Glukar can spawn. And then you want to look over at the helicopter area. These are your 2 main areas, as well as directly in front of you there's like a building with a little kind of a garage workshop area, and just to the left of that there's also a little spawn. You'll see some campfires, and when you're using the FLIR, it's very easy to pick out where the opponents are, and from here you can just basically headshot PMCs all day long. It's really that simple. It's just a case of getting there and making sure that you try and avoid Glukar if he does spawn. But if you do actually want to take out Glukar, you can add that to your run in order for you to get military power filters from the guards that he has, as well as himself, and of course get some more XP in your raids. Usually I average about 10k XP per raid when I go up here, throughout all of the raids that I've done. Sometimes it might be 6k, sometimes it might be 20k, sometimes it could be 30k if you take out the boss and all of his guards and everything, like the PMCs and stuff like that as well. But realistically it's probably more that you're going to be getting about anywhere from 5 to 20k is really the kind of limits at which I usually get during the raid. So it's a great way of getting XP, great way of taking out some of those PMCs. PMCs will often move around the map, and they usually go to the helicopter area just outside of it, as well as also going down to that military area or the kind of garage area down to the left. As well as once you've kind of picked off quite a few people from up here, you can also move down to the barracks area to the right, and often there can be PMCs inside of those, and what you can do is use your main gun to shoot through the windows, and that way you can see through it with a FLIR. It's super good to do that, and yeah, it's just another way of potentially getting some more kills with your sniper rifle if you're interested, and of course just checking through a couple of the areas, and it really works that simple. That is literally all you have to do. It is one of the best ways to take out PMCs, and it really isn't difficult at all. There's nothing to really contest you once you get up there, and of course you can extract straight away, or you could go down into D2 either through the barracks or through the D2 kind of tunnel all the way down from the actual radar tower itself, and then you end up next to D2, but you're going to have to go and turn the power on, so it's 50-50. I usually just go to the barracks and then go down from there, as you can often hit up the marked room as well at the same time. So with that being said, that is literally as simple as it is. It's very, very effective, and I've used it all of the time in order to complete a lot of those long range distance shots, as well as actually just taking out any PMCs in the game. It's just a super simple, almost too easy way of taking them out if you're interested in just blasting through some of these tasks and completing them as quickly as possible. So with that being said, if you have any questions or anything else that you'd like to add to this video, then make sure to comment it down below, and I'll pin any of the best ones that I find, or the best comment that I find, or anything to the actual video, so everyone else can see exactly what you guys have said if I find something that is valuable that is shared by one of you. So thank you very much for all of the support and everything that you've done so far on the channel. It's been amazing, and I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I can keep giving back to you guys and make your time worth it watching me. So I will see you in the next one. Check out this video for a little bit more info on the no AI situation at the moment.